name is Loam. Graduated in 2020, so just during COVID lockdown pretty much. I currently work as a reservations manager at the Marja Hotel in Hampton Court. So pretty much progression, I started working there straight after graduating, and I did my masters as well in between that. And fun fact, I'm from Ethiopia. I don't know if that's a fun fact, but other than that.
So I'm Emily. I graduated in 2021 doing the Tourism and Events Management group. I didn't actually start my university in Westminster. I actually started in University in Lincoln and then transferred over for my second year, and then COVID hit. So I spent the last year and a half at home doing my degree. I currently work at the Marriott in Canary Wharf as an events executive. I've been there since last May, but have worked in several other five-star hotels across London.
I remember you came at level 5. I remember that.
Hi everybody, I'm Afiza. I graduated with a BA in Tourism Planning and Management in 2021, just after COVID, I guess. And I went on to do my master's straight after in Surrey University in Air Transport Management. I currently work as a QHSE and HR analyst at Swissport. Fun fact about me. I like food.
I guess it's something we have in common. Except, so now it's your turn to start. I'm really sorry, the microphone is going up and down like that. So tell us about your experience at Westminster. Is there anything that you remember fondly about? Did the university help you finding your job? Yeah, a bit about your experience when you were a student here.
So when I started university, I was very lost. I guess I didn't know what I really wanted to do, and yeah, I just enjoyed tourism, I guess. So I thought, okay, let me just do something I enjoy. The lecturers really helped me understand what were my strengths and what I should do moving forward, because that was one of my main concerns when I was starting to hit my third year, and it was middle of COVID. So yeah, the lecturers really helped. The personal tutor suggested like what are your interests, suggested what the next steps were. Yeah.
Fantastic, thanks.
It was really great.
So I graduated with tourism planning, and what I really enjoyed was I had the opportunity to do some modules from the event side as well as the architecture side. So it was something very different and unique that other units were not offering. So that's why I went with Westminster. And I think the other thing was it was very diverse, so I got to meet quite a lot of people from different backgrounds and make friends from people who not met otherwise. So I thought that was very unique for my experience.
So like me, thank you. So obviously you all graduated in a very, very difficult time. We are in a much better place right now, but what were your main worries beyond COVID, obviously, because the pandemic was really hitting the industry, and you found jobs anyway. So what were your main worries, and how did you actually manage to find your first job?
I think my main worry was just picking what sort of industry I wanted to go with.
Right.
Tourism is such a broad, and you've got so many different opportunities. So I think that was for me quite hard deciding where I wanted to go. But then what really helped was I've always worked part-time while studying, so that helped narrow it down. To be fair, I landed on hospitality, not even planning it, and just ended up sort of falling in love with the hotel side more than the other air transport, things like that. So I did have a few modules as well, which was quite interesting for me.
Right.
Personally, for me, I found it a little bit difficult after coming out because hospitality didn't exist, and events were just restarting again. So it was very difficult to get into a position when people didn't even know what was going to happen at the end of the year. It took me a good, I think, 4 or 5 months to find something afterwards, and I started off doing event operations as my first step in to the events industry, because no one wanted to take me because I didn't have experience, and because they didn't want anybody, because they wanted someone who had the knowledge to start off with because of COVID. So it was difficult, but we got through.
Where did you start?
I started at the Intercontinental and the O2. which is a very large venue.
Yeah. Thrown in from the deep end.
Very much.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of worries coming out of uni because yes, like you mentioned, it was straight out of COVID. So that's when I had a chat with Claire.
Yeah, yeah. She's coming down later to say hi. Yeah.
And yeah, I shared my concerns with her. I said, what do I do now? Because I just studied tourism and it's COVID. I can't even travel anywhere. So she suggested maybe I do something in the meantime, like to my time, and I've always been interested in academics and I've loved being a student. So I chose to do my master's in Surrey, so out of London, and I spent that 1 year just buying time, gaining as much experience as I can, whilst also studying. And when I got out of my master's, I thought, okay, now can't go back to being a student, but like I need to step into the real world. But yeah, thankfully, because of everything that I did learn through my time from Westminster and Surrey, it really did help me finding a job, I guess.
So talk us through one day in the life of Latrusa today, and how did you get to this job? What was kind of the selection process? How did you find it?
So I was quite active on LinkedIn actually. So it was like a miniature stalker, I guess.
Yeah, well,
Trying to see what sort of companies are hiring, what sort of positions, and I just went and applied for everything that I was interested in. I was a bit picky. I was picky after I got the contracts and everything. And so I applied for my job on LinkedIn, and I had a few offers, and I chose the one which was most suited for me. My life right now, I guess it's
yeah. Talk to us about what do you do in one day?
so I wake up.
Yeah, because you're working from home, you were saying.
Yeah, I work from home right now. So I wake up, I have meetings, I work in an analytics and performance, so it's a lot to do with numbers and yeah, I just...
What are you analyzing? I'm curious. I'm a statistician, so I'm really interested.
I work in QHSE and HR departments, so it's quality, health, safety and environment. So it's anything to do with sports quality, health, safety, performance. I work with the performance group to create action plans, look at the numbers, who's performing great, who's not performing great, and give them feedback on it. Yeah.
I worked at the Hilton on Park Lane, doing event operations still, and I got tired of doing event operations after 2 years. Yeah, and I didn't see any progression there, so I wanted to change of pace. So I went into, wanted to be an events executive, and I went on Indeed, and I spent quite a long time on Indeed applying for anything I could to get out. And luckily enough, I had the interview for the Marriott, and I was straight in, and I found out I got the job for the day. So it was quite a nice feeling to know I got it on the day. But a normal day for me is, so I don't actually live in London, I live in Essex, so I travel in each day, and it's a commute, but it's doable. And so I deal with the events side. So when it's contracted, it gets passed over to me, and then I decide the groups who stay in the hotel with the events, and I look after them, making sure everything with them needs are met, and whatever we can do to assist. Make sure all the agenda is set up, so it's set up for all departments so they're aware. I also deal with directly myself social events and entertainment and football teams, because we get quite a lot of them. And so it's my duty to make sure everybody is up to date with all the right knowledge.
Amazing. Pressure, yeah.
So I applied as well through Indeed. So I started as reception. So I've worked in the same company since graduating as well. So I've been with them for about 3 years and a half. So started at reception, then moved to reservations, then reservations manager. So my sort of day-to-day would be sort of managing bookings from either from individual to group bookings, and also as we are very small in town, you get involved in literally doing everything. So you could be 1 minute helping in the restaurant, in F&B, the next minute helping with events. So you get quite involved in quite a lot of things. The other thing I do is I get involved in sort of the reporting side of how well we're doing against budget, against last year, and looking at the concepts and things like that. So I get involved quite a bit on that side with the revenue management as well.
Forgot the question I wanted to ask. I just wanted to go off piste and now I forgot what I wanted to ask. Ah, yes. You all said that you had to apply for a lot of jobs before you got the one that you really wanted. How did you deal with kind of like the rejection or not even getting an answer? Because sometimes they just don't get back to you. So how did you keep yourself motivated?
I'll be honest, it was difficult,
Yeah.
especially just after graduating. You just feel like I'm not in the real world. What am I going to do? So it was scary. But I think what I found was when you get rejected, something even better tends to come up after it. So just be positive as much as possible, but applying everywhere pretty much. Because even though it might not be the opportunity or the role you had in mind, but you can always move within the group, within the hotel. There's always movement, and I always say it's better to have your foot in the door, so then at least you've got the job, you've got the role, and it's much easier to move on after.
And you managed to get promoted quite quickly, so you are the living proof that this strategy works. Thank you.
For myself, yeah, it's difficult getting loads of rejections. Or I've even been promised interviews and never had them.
Wow.
But you just sort of, it wasn't the one. So you carry on, keep going, and eventually the right one will come. It may take time, but eventually you will work out, because I had, the one I got now, I had 2 interviews on the same day, and I got offered both of them. But I had to work out which one was more suitable for what I wanted and what I needed. Even though one I had more to travel to, the other one wasn't what I wanted. It was, I applied for it because I applied for it. I thought I need a job, I need to get out from where I am and do something else. But it's hard to reject someone else after you've been offered it, but yeah, it's just working out what's best for you and putting yourself first.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, there were some roles that I thought I was very interested in and I didn't get them. But I thought maybe I was rejected because maybe I wasn't the right fit for it. And yeah, this might be like what the interviewers thought I was best for, and I'm really happy with what I'm at right now, so I guess it worked out well for me.
Did you feel that your degree actually made a difference in making you employable for that particular organization? Because 2 of you actually went and did also masters, which obviously may have been because you were trying to buy time during COVID. Did you feel that you needed maybe some other qualifications? Did you do anything post-graduation apart from the masters that made you more interesting for your employer? What do you think about lifelong learning? That's the point.
So for me, whilst I was at Westminster, I was also working as a manager in McDonald's.
Right.
So I was working as a people manager, so I was gathering skills from there part-time. And during my masters, I also did when I got out of Westminster actually, I looked at what are some of the skills some employers are looking for, and some listed in terms of data analytics, certain softwares like Power BI, Excel, were some of the basics that they were looking for. So whilst I was doing my masters, I was learning those on the side, just in case I would seem to be a more attractive candidate compared to others who have not done that. So I went ahead and trained or learned on the side myself. So that was a few things. And whilst I was at Westminster, I was a course representative for 3 years. I did the fans program, and so I did a few extra things, which when I was doing interviews, and I had on my CV, the interviewers did question me on this. Why did you do this? It seems like, some of the feedback was, it's quite unique traits that some other candidates don't have. So I guess that was one of my strengths in a way for them to choose me. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, because there's a lot of graduates from our courses. I mean, they're very good courses, but it's what differentiates you from the rest of that.
Yeah. So like on LinkedIn, you can actually see how many applicants have applied for a job, and at the end of the day, they would go for like one. Or when I was actually speaking to hiring manager after I was employed, he actually ran me through how they do a hiring process in terms of they have, for instance, 200 candidates applying for the job, then they shortlist to 20, then they go to interview 6, and then they move those 6 into the second manager who works part of their department and end up choosing one. So it starts off with a huge number for it to be ended with one, and you need to really shine at the end of the day to be chosen.
Fantastic, thanks.
I think specifically with events, volunteering is very important. In one of my previous roles, I used to work for Odeon on Tottenham Court Road, and we used to work with the British Film Festival in London. So we used to have all some of the films within the festival would come and host in the venue, so I would assist in making sure that was all right. And then I also worked with the events department within Odeon, just to make sure I could get my foot in. But volunteering is a major part, because it helps you give an understanding behind the role. It's specifically for events, because when they ask you about your experience, unfortunately they want to have more from you, because they want you to know more. And as lovely as a degree is, a degree gives you the knowledge, but having the experience and the degree, it's putting your knowledge to the test. And it's really vital, I believe, to have the volunteering experience, specifically in events.
Yeah.
I think for me, why I sort of did the masters was again similar to yours, to differentiate myself from the other candidates, but also I thought it was a really good opportunity for network, and hospitality is such a small role. You don't know who you meet, and you end up sort of giving you the next opportunity. Also, I'm always interested in doing masters, so I thought that would be a really good time for me to sort of progress on and do the masters. Whilst I was at uni, it was really important to understand like volunteering and helping out, doing like with courseware and open days and things like that. So that gets you involved in the uni. But also when you're graduating, sadly you don't have a lot of experience or a lot of things to put on your CV, and I felt it was really daunting of not having a lot to put on there. So that helped a lot of, it's sad to say, but almost filled the gap of you can say, oh, I did this and I did that. Instead of sort of not just experiencing the full uni experience. So I thought that was really, really important to do. The other thing was working while studying. Even though it's just like one day a week, it helped, and doing part-time jobs, and I did work with attractions, events, waitressing and all of that, and it helped understand how hotels operate, or how events or how attractions operate, and that helped in the role I am now, should get the bigger picture in a sense.
Yeah, the bigger picture. That's so, one thing that you love and one thing that you hate of your job right now. It's not going to be broadcasting, so
Oh, you're fired. One thing I love is just the guest experience. Like, it's the little things you do, and when it's noticed by the guest, it just means the world. Like, obviously being reservations, you don't really get to see the guests as much, so you always by phone or email, but it's really special when they actually come in to check in, or when they come over for the wedding, they ask you, because they know you're ready and you've not even met them. So I think that's such a special part of my role. Then the other thing I hate is, as much as I love numbers, sometimes there's too many numbers. I think that's the one thing. If you break the formula in Excel, it's just hard to figure it out, and that's one thing that drives me crazy.
And the more you move up in management position, the more you're actually responsible for numbers.
Yeah. My manager always says, "Luam, you're always just clicking too many stuff, so just stuff like this always just makes me down a little bit."
The one thing I love is the execution. So you spend months and months planning something, and then you finally get to see it happen. And even if you're not there, you get to hear the feedback from everyone else. And then using the feedback from everyone else to then speak to the client directly is the greatest feeling. Because even if it hasn't gone so well, like you still know that some areas you can improve on, or you know that there's some things that need to be changed for the future. But hearing back from them I love it. However, the unfortunate part about hotels is it's 24/7. And even though I'm on my day off, I'm still looking at my emails and make sure that even because I have groups or events over the weekends or during the evenings, and there's always situations that happen, and you have to keep an eye on everything.
It's one thing that I'm hearing sometimes, that people feel that they're just not good enough, or that they don't feel confident enough to put themselves forward for jobs. That, you know, when you look at the job description, they're asking for so much. But when in fact then you get to know them, you realize that, everybody's normal in work environment, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess like when I first started applying for jobs, it's like, they would say like, entry level, like a LinkedIn entry level, and they'd say
2 years experience.
plus 3 to 4 years experience in customer service, or certain ticketing services, or so on. And I think, what? How is this entry level? But I still applied, and when it's like giving it a shot. So I gave myself a shot. Like if they do ask, if I do get moved forward in the recruitment process, I could just say like, yes, I have the theoretical knowledge that you want me to have. It's just the practical experience I don't have, and I applied for this job for me to gain that. And I guess it did work for me.
There you go. So you need to find your own way around it.
It's like have some like belief in yourself, I guess. For me, I was very, very like unsure of what I wanted to do. So it was a bit hard for me, but I think once I did start working, I started talking to people, networking with people in the industry. I thought, yes, like at the end of the day, you just graduated. So what can they expect out of you? Like this is the start
Of your
career, and in 20 years' time, then you can go in and say, yes, I've got all this experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's got a long way.
And you?
Definitely, absolutely so much. I don't believe myself at all. I have no belief. I think I am.
You've done so well. I can't believe how many fantastic places you already worked at.
But I don't believe in myself at all. So, of course, when applying, I still applied, but I was like, nah, I'm not getting it. They're not going to hire me, but I'll apply. You hardly hear back from some of them because you know actually, okay, it is actually true that I'm not ready for it. But by the time you just have to do it. You have to like, even if you get to the point where you get to see them and then they go, well actually we do need this, then you can prove, well, I've taken this on board and I can do it. I just need the help and assistance. Because I started off as an events executive. I have no experience in events executive. I had experience in operations, so like handling the events on a day, but I'd never had the experience prior. So it took me to apply for that job, but I have no experience in that area. So they were like, I had to make them believe that I could do it. Don't know how, but I did it.
You must have said something that made them really like you, but there you go, yeah. Maybe just a passion, you know, because what people are really, they know they can train you on anything, but if you're not passionate, and hospitality, you need to be passionate. I think that's what they're looking for. Yeah.
I think I would say the same.
See if that microphone
I feel
works.
so I'm scared and not confident as well. But I think for me, I was always scared to apply, but what I felt was a company always, as much as they're recruiting for the perfect person, as much as they're looking for sort of the perfect candidate, it's also important for you to find the perfect suit and perfect company. So I always thought as much as they're interviewing me, just to get my nerves in control, I would say, well, I'm also interviewing them, and just thinking that not to be in the hot seat, and just get as much confidence as possible, and you can always learn and train on the job. Like what I found out, like when I started reception, I've never worked in a hotel before. I did like a few sort of work experiences and things like that, but I never felt I was ready for it. And then you're thrown in the deep end, like hospitality is, and you'll pick it up quicker. So
Absolutely. Any regrets about choosing this particular career, choosing this course, anything you would have done differently? Feel free to say no regrets, I'm perfectly happy.
I would say, because obviously I did study as well as work, I didn't have much time for joining societies and things like that, so that's one thing I regret. I wish I did more of that and join societies. Even though I did sort of do the coursework and openness and things like that, I didn't really join any society, so I think that would be one regret I would say.
During university, I definitely didn't put myself out there because here I am now, I still don't know anyone who's in my course.
Right.
And I never wanted to put myself out there because I didn't have the opportunity once it hit COVID, because the only time I could talk to them is during a seminar, and at that point, all it is about the subject. I didn't have the chance to talk personally to anybody. And then since it's sort of carried on, I don't want to, even though I want to do some things, I'm not the sort of person that puts myself out there. I don't want to. It's not part of my nature. I know I need to get further. I know I need to push myself, push past those limits, and I do regret it, and I am learning from it now, maybe a bit too late. But yeah, I regret not putting myself out there.
You don't want to force yourself in an uncomfortable position, because then you're going to,
I don't like boasting.
Yeah.
I can't do
No,
that.
but that's,
Sell myself.
I guess there's a lot of people sharing that. I mean, yeah, it just comes if you just go a tad out of your comfort zone every time and then see that nothing terrible happens. So, yeah, absolutely.
I kept in touch with some of my friends from uni, so it's great. So I have a few friends working at BAs, British Airways, different airlines, so it's great if you have someone that you know to make it easier for you, I guess.
Yeah,
it's a
starting point.
starting
Yeah.
point for you. Yeah.
Excellent.
For me, I don't really use LinkedIn much. I don't understand it. It's there, it has everything on it, but I'm not a boasting person, and then I see everyone boasting, it's not for me. But I have it, I do connect with people, but I find better, I do connect within hotels, speak to anybody in the hotel. You speak to anyone in any department, and then they'll help you in any way they can. But when I was in uni, it was who you know who knew someone. So, for instance, I had family members who knew somebody within the industry, and then using them to connect the dots to get through. Like, I didn't know anybody within hotels, but I knew one of my dad's friends, cousin or something, worked in the events industry, and then I got in to help in one of theirs. It's just, if you know someone, if you can put yourself and say, oh, I really want to get into this, you try and ask some people you know, and they may know somebody else. I think that's the best way, if you're not a LinkedIn person, that is the best way to try and get, because you speak personally, because I don't like talking over screens, I like to speak to somebody face to face.
Absolutely. And the hospitality industry, the events industry, are normally made up of very nice people. So everybody will be, if you say I need help, can you introduce me or can you give me some tips? Everybody will try to help because they've been there, they were used at some point. So I fully share that opinion, absolutely. But you just need to be brave enough to ask.
Yeah.
I think a bit of both, I would say. I think LinkedIn is a great platform to connect with sort of who you study with as well as sort of in the industry, because it's such a small world. But what I found really helpful was during university course we got to go to like travel trade shows and things like that. And I actually found one of my past jobs at the travel trade show. I just went up to them, was a tour operator, and I said, yeah, really interested in this, and I ended up getting a part-time job just because you just happened to be there and just spoke with them. So I think it's really good to put yourself out there and go to those shows or open days. Like for example, at uni when they do open days, a lot of like hotels come up, even if you're not looking for like opportunities. That didn't work out, so just put yourself out there.
I'd say perseverance. It doesn't come. Your first job may not be the best one, but it comes with time. And you may not get it straight away. You may get so many rejections, and it may put you down. But you've just got to persevere, carry on, and one day the right one will come. And if it's not the right one, you know within yourself that you can still carry on until you find the right one.
Something similar to what you mentioned. Yes, don't give up, I guess. Yeah. I know that you guys are just entering as graduates, and I mean that is the fact. So apply, just try your luck. I guess it worked out for me. So just mentioning that. So just don't give up.
Fantastic. Well, resilience, being positive, keeping open to opportunities, I guess. Yeah. Thank you very much to our panel.
I'd say like AI is a big part of the world now and just always changing, and I think with hospitality and the luxury market, which currently where I work at, it's really hard to incorporate because luxury has always been sort of personalized service. But I think what's really good is just to keep a read up, like on LinkedIn when people sort of post using trends and things like that, and always just subscribing to as many as like hotels that you're interested in, or like any other sort of media that do post a lot about the industry is really helpful in learning about the trends.
Yeah.
It depends on which area you want to go into, I would say. If you wanted, for instance, for myself, I went through Indeed, and then I was going through, majority of the ones I applied for were larger companies, less because for myself, I believe that they have more, I could learn more from them because they would have proper learnings, someone who could teach me better, rather than smaller agencies. And because I came straight into hotels, they already had processes in plan. So I started from them because I had the processes I could start from, and then build from there. But it depends on how you want to go about it. If you have the experience, then of course, absolutely, smaller agencies may be more suitable for you because they do less events but more large scale. Whereas from hotel sides, it's quite a lot on every different scale. It's all just how you want to take it and how you want to push yourself. Even if you have no experiences, you have no experience from uni. Your deadlines are still skills that you've learned towards. All your experiences within uni have made you not a better person, but also more out there to go in the further world. Even though you might not have had any jobs or might not have done any volunteering or any sort of aspect of life, you can still use your experiences at uni, and all the projects you've done, your dissertation, everything is time management, it's learning, it's everything you can do to push you further. And you can use that. It would be better to get more experience as because anyone wants you to have experience, but you've got to start from somewhere. Even if you don't have any, you still have your experience from uni.
I think I would say similar, because you've got sort of your modules that you've done. I know my first year would say something like marketing module, even though I don't know anything about marketing, I've not worked in marketing, you still have studied that module. So it's worth listing maybe one or two of your favourite modules, or like the topic of your dissertation, I remember when I first graduated, the employment team here helped helping tailor made my CV and helped in what to write. And said write about what you put through your dissertation, and that'll be interesting for employees to look at as well.